Female behavior, it only feels confusing when you don't understand the, let's call it, the emotional architecture behind it.
Right. It's not chaos.
It's not chaos at all. It's just a different operating system. It's based on context and feeling, not just literal words.
Exactly. So we're not dealing with some kind of deliberate attempt to be confusing. It's more like a language barrier.
No.
And our mission here is to sort of provide the Rosetta Stone for that.
Yeah, translation guy.
Yeah. We're going to break down 7 very specific behaviors that get misinterpreted all the time. We're going straight to the why behind them to turn those confusing moments into, well, predictable patterns.
And if you've ever been unsure about what she really meant or what she wanted or why she suddenly just shifted gears,
Yeah.
this is where we build that bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And it really starts by defining that fundamental difference, our sources point out. Men tend to communicate, logically.
Literally, word for word.
Focused on the words, focused on objective solutions, whereas women often communicate more contextually.
With the emotional meaning behind the words, that distinction is everything, isn't it?
It is. And before we even jump into the 7 behaviors, it's so important to remember this isn't about learning to play games.
Not at all.
It's about understanding that emotional consistency is the language of security. That's the real goal.
So let's start with the first one. This is a big one that causes instant panic for a lot of men.
The sudden silence.
Yeah. When a woman just gets quiet, men often jump straight to the worst case scenario.
They think, she's bored, or I said something wrong, or she's already checking out of this relationship. It feels like she's actively pulling away.
And that's the logical failure point right there. A man assumes silence means disapproval or withdrawal because, in a purely functional logical exchange, that's often what it means.
Okay, so what's the psychological reality?
The reality is that women very often internalize before they express. So that silence is actually a critical moment of self-regulation.
So she's not pulling away, she's actually managing her own internal state.
Precisely. She's processing her emotion, she's evaluating the situation, or maybe she's just calming herself down before she tries to articulate a really complex feeling.
That makes sense.
And here's a key insight. She might be checking if you're emotionally safe enough for her to even reveal what she's feeling. So if you react to her silence with panic, by hitting her with 4 questions in a row, what's wrong? Are you mad? Did I do something?
You've just failed the test.
You've confirmed you are not a stable place for her to land with her feelings. Wow, okay, that shatters the safety immediately. I can see that. If she's trying to organize a thought and you just inject your own anxiety into it, everything gets more tangled.
Right.
But wait, how do you know the difference between her just processing something and her actually being upset at me?
Well, the behavioral cues might be a little different, maybe in the length or the depth of the silence, but the instruction for you remains exactly the same.
Okay.
Even if she is upset, that silence is the moment she's organizing her reaction. If you can stay calm, grounded, and just give her a little bit of space, you provide the stability she needs.
And she can finish processing sooner.
Exactly. The lesson here is simple, but it can be really tough to do. Don't chase, don't interrogate, just maintain your calm, grounded presence. That builds trust so much faster than demanding an answer.
That idea is stability. That takes us right into the second big one, which feels a lot less passive than silence.
Testing.
Testing. Yeah, this word is so loaded. When men hear tests, they immediately think it's manipulation or that she's playing games.
It's got such a negative connotation.
It does, because nobody wants to feel like they're being constantly evaluated. But you're saying the psychological reason for it is something else.
What's really fascinating here is the underlying, almost evolutionary impulse. A woman often tests to measure emotional consistency.
Consistency, not just strength.
Right, and long-term stability. It's an evaluation of reliability, not an attack. And this impulse is often subconscious. It's driven by a deep need to make sure her partner is genuinely reliable when things get tough.
Okay, so can you give us a practical example? What does a test actually look like, according to the sources?
They're often deceptively small things. A test might be her becoming a little bit distant for a day, or making a small but, pointed complaint about a change in plans.
We're pulling back right after a great date.
Exactly. The underlying question in all these moments is the same. Are you stable under pressure? Are you going to stay calm, or are you going to get emotional, defensive, or insecure?
So she's basically kicking the tires on your internal system. She wants to see if your confidence is real or if it's just a performance that cracks under a little pressure.
That's a perfect way to put it. And if you meet that test with defensiveness or anger, or by sulking, you've failed the assessment. The lesson is just to stay grounded and calm. Passing the test means showing emotional maturity.
Not arguing about why her small complaint was unreasonable.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to the infamous one. The classic, I'm fine. If you ask a man how he is, and he says he's fine, he is fine, end of story. But when a woman says, I'm fine, the man who communicates literally just runs into a brick wall.
A total brick wall. The literal approach just fails completely here. When she says, I'm fine, but her body language or her tone is tense, it almost always means one of a few things.
Okay, like what?
1, I don't feel safe enough to open up yet. 2, I need you to pay more attention. Or, critically, 3, I want connection right now, not conflict.
So she isn't looking for you to logically solve whatever the problem is. She's looking for emotional awareness.
Yes, she wants validation that her feeling has been seen and registered by you.
And that's the key part that gets missed, I think. Validation isn't agreeing with the reason for the feeling. It's just acknowledging the feeling exists.
That's it. A logical response to I'm fine is, but we solved that problem, why are you still upset? And that is so invalidating.
Right, because that response tells her your feelings are irrational.
Whereas the validating response simply says, I can see you're in distress, and I acknowledge that. And that acknowledgement is what creates safety.
So the lesson is, don't interrogate. Don't ask, are you sure you're fine?
Please don't. Instead, create that safety by validating what you see. Something like, I feel like something's weighing on you. I want you to know I'm here when you want to talk. That meets her need for awareness without demanding she be vulnerable on your timeline.
This next one is where it gets really interesting for me. The fourth behavior, pulling away right after getting close.
This is a big one.
This confuses men so much because it happens right after a perfect date or a really deep talk or physical intimacy. And then the next day, she seems cold or distant.
And the natural conclusion for him is,
I did something wrong, or she lost interest.
But psychologically, the timing is the most important clue. She's pulling away precisely because of the positive interaction.
How does that work?
Well, closeness and deep connection, they activate vulnerability. And vulnerability, by its very nature, triggers a primal fear of loss or potential pain.
So she's not rejecting the connection, she's reacting to the intensity of the connection. It's a defense mechanism.
Exactly. Her system is kicking in because she's feeling too much, too fast. She steps back to regulate and protect herself, and it's often subconscious.
It's not because she lost interest.
Quite the opposite. She might be pulling back because she liked you more than you realize, and that intensity triggered her self-protection.
That is so counterintuitive for the logical mind. So the lesson here has to be completely non-reactive.
Completely. Don't chase. Don't send a barrage of texts questioning the withdrawal. Just let her regulate those intense feelings. The source material is really clear on this. If the attraction is real, she will come back.
And your calm, non-reactive stance just reinforces that you're a safe person to come back to.
You're the anchor.
Right. Next up, the classic problem-solving divergence. When she's upset or shares a problem, men instinctively leap to offer solutions.
Yes, the fixer impulse. Here is a problem. I must provide a technical solution.
But that's not what she's looking for.
Usually not, no. Think of it like a boiler that needs to vent steam. The first, most critical need is just to release that pressure.
So she's looking for expression, for empathy.
For empathy, attention, and presence. If you jump straight to the solution, you're ignoring the steam and trying to fix the plumbing. She just feels unheard because you bypass the emotional need.
Okay, so if her boss was unfair, the logical guy says, okay, draft an email to HR and schedule a meeting. But that's the wrong answer.
It fails the emotional task. She's looking for you to be present and say, wow, that sounds incredibly frustrating. You don't deserve that. That validates the pressure.
And only after that pressure is released can she even think about the practical solution.
Exactly. So the lesson is a simple 3-step process. Listen first, validate second, and only offer advice if she explicitly asks for it.
Okay, let's pivot to number 6, which is about how needs get communicated or not communicated directly.
Indirectly. Men often hear these small details or casual statements a woman makes, and they just dismiss them as noise.
Right, like random chatter, but they're not.
No, they're not. This is where you have to learn to listen for the emotional instructions. It's like she's handing you the operating manual for the relationship, one page at a time.
And women rarely ask directly for what they want, right?
We're often looking for a partner who can intuitively understand their needs and values. So instead, they drop these subtle hints.
And the sources give great examples of these, like these little breadcrumbs. I really love it when a man plans things.
Or, it means so much when someone remembers birthdays.
These aren't just random statements, they're revealing her core values.
Absolutely. If she casually mentions that she feels let down when people are late, that's not just a comment on that one time. It's a huge clue that punctuality is tied to her feeling respected.
So the lesson is pattern recognition. You have to stop filtering these things out as noise and start seeing them as crucial signals.
If you ignore these patterns, you're basically ignoring the instruction manual for your own relationship. Of course, it's going to function poorly.
So pay attention to what she says casually. Her hints reveal her needs.
And success comes from picking up on that non-literal language and then proactively acting on it.
Finally, we get to the push-pull cycle, the grand finale of relationship confusion.
The big one.
Men get so bewildered by the rapid shift between wanting intense closeness and then suddenly needing space. Feels like the ultimate mixed signal.
It feels unstable. But if we connect this back to our main theme, we can see this cycle, closeness, then space, then needing reassurance. It's actually a normal form of emotional regulation for a woman who feels very deeply.
She's running safety checks.
Constantly. The pull-in is a check for connection. The pullback is a check for her own safety and independence.
So she gets close, feels vulnerable, and then pulls back to make sure that vulnerability didn't lead to danger or, being smothered.
Exactly. And that's why the man's reaction to this cycle is the most important part of the equation.
How so?
If you chase her when she pulls back, you confirm her fear of being engulfed. If you panic and get distant when she pulls in, you confirm her fear of instability.
So the lesson is to just be consistent, not reactive.
Be the unmoving object in a sea of her changing emotions. Your emotional stability is the anchor that calms her fluctuations. That's what she's looking for.
So what does this all boil down to for the person listening right now? We've gone through 7 behaviors, but the core truth is the same, isn't it?
It is. Most of these misunderstandings happen because men tend to communicate with literal logic, and women tend to communicate with contextual emotion.
And we've hopefully extracted the psychological blueprints to help shift your focus from the literal words to the emotional intent behind them.
It's about changing your internal question from, what is the content of this problem, to, what is the emotional context she's trying to show me?
Once you understand that emotional need, whether it's behind silence or testing or pulling away, it doesn't feel confusing anymore. It actually becomes predictable, manageable.
Yeah, and if we zoom out to the bigger picture, the real takeaway isn't just knowing these 7 behaviors. It's recognizing the absolute necessity of creating and maintaining emotional safety.
That stability, being the anchor.
That's the foundation. It's what allows her to finally relax her need to constantly run those safety checks.
The stability you offer when she's internalizing or testing, that's often more valuable than any specific thing you could say in that moment.
The consistency really does outweigh the immediate content.
Absolutely. So, to wrap this up, let's leave our listener with a final thought to chew on.
Okay, so here's the provocative thought. Considering everything we discussed today, which of these 7 lessons, whether it's giving space during silence, listening instead of solving, or being consistent during the push-pull, which one is the hardest for you to actually apply in the real world? And why?
That reflection right there.
That reflection will often reveal the biggest personal block you face in getting to that place of true, secure communication.